Hi there, and thanks for joining us. Today, classes are canceled in the small town of Perry, Iowa, after yesterday's deadly school shooting. A sixth grader was killed and others were hurt after a 17-year-old brought two guns into a high school. NBC's Adrian Broaddus is in Perry with more background behind what happened.
A day later, and here in Perry, still a tremendous amount of pain. The school is closed and the high school, as you can see, is still a crime scene. Thursday was the first day back to school following winter break for the district. But before those students could make it inside of the classroom, they were met with terror. Investigators have identified a 17-year-old student as the shooter, Dylan Butler. Police say he injured 4 people and killed a sixth grader. Now, some of you might be wondering, did this happen at the high school? Yes, it did. But at the time, there was a breakfast program going on, so there were a number of students here at the high school. We were also learning more about the administrator investigators say was injured. According to a Facebook post, that administrator has been identified as the principal, Dan Marburger, by his daughter. She writes in a Facebook post calling her dad a gentle giant. She also says she was not surprised to learn that her father approached Dylan and tried to talk him down, distracting him long enough, allowing the other students in the cafeteria time to escape. Back to you.
Adrian, thank you. Last night, hundreds of people gathered for a candlelight prayer vigil at a park near the high school. It was the same park students were brought to so they could reunite with their family members earlier in the day. Many are calling the shooting a senseless tragedy. Last night at the vigil, community members took time to remember the child who was killed.
The young man that was killed today was an amazing little boy, and he was the sweetest. And I know his family, and I want them to realize how amazing he was.
Classmates of the shooter say he was bullied since elementary school and that he, quote, got tired of the harassment. We learned he also made a number of social media posts in and around the time of the shooting. Our team is still in the area of the scene today. We will have the latest as developments unfold in Perry. We're following the latest on the condition of the survivors of this week's devastating house fire in St. Paul. Yesterday, we learned one of 6 kids pulled from the burning home with their mother has died. The father of the children shared on a GoFundMe page that it was his oldest daughter. He also says 2 of his other children are not expected to make it, and another child has a 50-50 chance of survival. His wife is also fighting for her life right now in the hospital. According to that post, 2 of the children are out of what he called a critical zone. The GoFundMe has skyrocketed well over $100,000. The donations will pay for funeral costs. If you would like to help, we have the link at KARE11.com. Well, turning now to our weather, our day is starting out cloudy, but later we're expecting the start of some light snow. Ben breaks down how long it'll last.
Well, once again, dealing with a lot of cloud cover today and temperatures warming just above the freezing mark. Another brief thaw and then snow looking more likely heading into the weekend. Starting to see some snow falling across central and northern Minnesota, and we'll get some of that around the Twin Cities overnight tonight and into Saturday. Not to mention additional chances for some light snow heading into next week, specifically Tuesday and then again next Thursday. So things starting to turn a little bit more active. In the meantime, we have a winter weather advisory for the Duluth area, up the North Shore and the Iron Range, in effect until 6 p.m. Saturday. This is where the more significant snowfall is expected, 2 to 5 inches up there. We do have some snowfall in our forecast as well. We'll talk about how much we're going to get coming up in Maine weather in just a couple of minutes.
Ben, thank you. Another update today on the ongoing Tesla recalls all around the world. The company is now recalling more than 1.5 million of its vehicles in China. It's a similar issue the company warned American customers about last month. China regulators say drivers may be misusing the autopilot functions, which could increase crash risks. There's also a recall on some models because of a risk the door could open during a crash. Tesla is in the process of creating software updates to send out both in the U.S. and China. Today, former South African athlete Oscar Pistorius was released from prison and is now on parole. He served nearly 9 years for the murder of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Before he was granted parole back in November, South Africa's Correctional Services says he will now be required to be home at particular hours of the day. He cannot have alcohol or prohibited substances, and he cannot do media interviews. Pistorius denied shooting Steenkamp in a fit of anger. saying that he had mistaken her for an intruder. Well, today, some of the people living in Camp Ninokasi are waking up in a new homeless encampment just a few blocks away. Yesterday, the city of Minneapolis cleared the camp, citing health and safety concerns. Organizers opened the camp on city-owned land in August as a landing pad for homeless drug addicts to recover. But police had been called there dozens of times, including for a shooting death. The city says they worked with nonprofits to find housing and shelter options for 130 of the residents.
And we feel forgotten, you know? We are still humans too, you know? And we are trying to make it. Camp Nikasi has given me a home. It has given me a family.
The new encampment is located just 3 blocks south at 26th and 14th Avenue South. In the first month of 2024, 2 more businesses on St. Paul's Grand Avenue will be closing. It leaves the historic street with up to a dozen vacancies. We're taking a closer look at who's getting the blame.
I'm Danny Spiewak. If you live in St. Paul or you shop on Grand Avenue, you probably saw the news that the Pottery Barn is closing this month at Grand and Victoria. And also the popular restaurant Salou is also closing at some point this month. There are a lot of vacancies on this stretch now, owned by LLCs that have the address of the State Teachers Retirement System of Ohio. That is a pension fund for Ohio retired teachers, coming under some criticism from business owners in the area who say they're not doing enough to lure new tenants. We've reached out to the retirement fund for comment and have not heard back, but the Grand Avenue Business Association says they are working hard to fill a lot of these spaces and get Grand Avenue back to where it usually is.